This is going to be my last video for today. I think I made like 3 videos for today. I have to start doing some homework. But there's a question that I think hopefully will illuminate or give us some insight, a skeptic or a non-Christian or a non-Abrahamic faith following person, perhaps, but I think it pertains more to Christians. It will give us some insight. This video hopefully will give us some insight into the relationship of free will versus the relationship of free will to the relationship of difficulty. And what I mean is, if a task is simple to do, does it require less free will than a task that is difficult to do? Because ultimately, and many Christians will admit that the path of salvation is narrow. Now, that's their claim. That's what they believe. That's in their scripture. Then that means that there are very few people that will be saved. And the reason that very few people will be saved most likely indicates that being a Christian and following the true path is extremely difficult. Now, if the path was wide and everybody was saved, would that indicate less free will? Let's look at the proof of God, or the epistemology that leads to God. Is the epistemology that leads to God, is it more difficult than understanding mathematical principles such as multiplication, addition, and subtraction? And when I mean, is it more difficult, is it more challenging to believe that the three distinct persons are one God than 3 + 3 = 6? Just conceptually. If the answer is yes, I propose this theory. I propose that the essential condition of entering the kingdom of heaven, according to the Orthodox Christian belief, is absolute free will. And in saying that, the theologians of the orthodoxy of Christianity, whether it be Catholic or Protestant, are implicitly or explicitly saying that there must be a level of difficulty of being a Christian, a true Christian, that has to be that way in order for maximum free will to exist. Because their God only accepts those who have maximum free will to follow God. So therefore, God will not reveal himself in an obvious manner. That would be easy. That would negate free will. Or it would demand a level of free will that is not enough or not satisfactory to God. So 3 + 3 = 6. The choice or the ability to believe that it is 6 requires no free will for me. In the theologian terms, me believing that the ultimate God and the sole God of the universe is 3 people that are one being is insurmountably challenging for me to believe. Based on that, I can see a theologian, an evangelical, conservative, or Catholic theologian, say that demonstrates God inducing, or God making sure that those who are saved have optimum free will in choosing him. Okay. Now, the theologian always says, because they don't want to make their God sound stupid, they'll say that the reasons the Trinity is beyond reason. Where what they're trying to say is that there's a reason that would prove that the Trinity exists, but we don't know about it. The same thing for the damnation, that they'll give you some of their arguments based on Scripture and try to make some kind of cohesive argument, but the bottom line is that there's an argument that you don't know about. There's something in the heart of man that other people don't see. Other people can't see each other, that will prove that you deserve eternal suffering. But you must trust. Again, the core essence of the saved, doesn't matter if it's the Orthodox Catholic or Orthodox Protestants, is trust in God. Trust in God that there's reasons for things happening, and trust in God that what is happening is ultimately good. Abraham and Isaac proves this. Noah's flood proves this. Whether you take the story literally or metaphorically, that is the core essence of salvation. The core essence. And the atheists, again, the reason why they call them a fool, the reason why they're hard on atheists is because they explicitly manifest a distrust, a non-trust in this God, in this conception of God. And they will not take that leap of faith to say that there's a reason behind this suffering that will convince me that this suffering is overall good, but I don't know about it yet, and God will reveal it. If I trust that it's good, there will be an overall benefit. He will reveal this in heaven. The atheist and the skeptic and the non-Christian, even the non-Christian Muslim to some extent, because of his non-belief in the Trinity, will not take that leap. Let's just take this is not a theological debate. This is not really a theological debate. Some Christians may say, well, since you're an atheist, you don't understand the Trinity. Well, there's many theists that don't understand the Trinity. And even among their own theistic peers, they're saying that they lack trust in God because they should believe in it, because God can do anything. They can't comprehend it. They may never comprehend it, but they must trust that it is true. Because only God is warranted to know everything. This is their escape device, or their tactical device, or tactical strategy in dealing with Muslims. So I hope that question we carefully think about. Is free will a task that demands free will? Is it measured on difficulty? That means if the more difficult the task is, if you succeed in accomplishing that task, does that mean it is your success is based on a greater level of free will as opposed to an easy task? Perhaps that is what the whole Christian orthodoxy is about. That maybe the standards that are rigorous are very hard to obtain in Christianity, but which I think many of them are meaningless. Some of them do have meaning, but even the ones that are meaningless, is it just based upon implicitly trying to say that yes, it's difficult, but that's going to demonstrate the optimum free will you have to choose God? Because, like we said, constantly atheists say, well, how come God doesn't give us this absolute mathematical, absolute convincing proof that is just as convincing as mathematics? And what does the theist say? that would destroy the man's free will. He doesn't want a robot. He wants him to freely choose him. So, from a deterministic worldview, the level of difficulty indicates less free will. From a theistic standpoint, from a theist who believes that these standards are absolutely difficult, absolutely challenging to succeed in, I think the theist would say that this proves free will. This proves free will. It proves the more difficult the task, the greater the level of free will the person is going to manifest. And I think in our reality, we often we give examples of that. Like, someone comes from a poor condition and they succeed, and somebody comes from a rich condition and they fail. Well, they say that's a demonstration of free will, because how can the poor person in adverse conditions succeed while the other person in an advantageous position fail? It's got to be simply their free will. I think that the level of difficulty, the rigor in Christian doctrine, and much of it very meaningless, clearly illuminates an implicit perception of free will. All right, I don't want to go past the 15 minutes, so I'm gonna sign off. Thanks.